Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT's massive update over the last 24 hours with Lotus being revealed, loads of new insight into the way that map is going to play out, and also all the split changes revealed as well, and some Scrim results leaked here by Tarik on stream last night. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. So this is the new main menu. We can see that that first shot there with the South Korean menu type thing that we saw the other day, that is going to be the case, and all these teasers are basically just teasers for the new main menu type thing going on. Now, this is Lotus. Before we look at the map layout, actually, let me just show you some pictures. So, you know, obviously a beautiful looking map, as we might expect. It's got, to be honest, a bit of Haven vibe about it. It's got the 3 bomb sites as well, like Haven does. It kind of feels a bit like Haven in some respects as well. It's beautiful to look at. Whether it plays well, not so sure so far. We've seen some gameplay of it over the last 24 hours or so. Some players like it, some players don't, but it's going to take some time to figure out what is exactly going on. Now, certain elements, though, are definitely very interesting. There is, I think there's a destructible wall or two. You guys can see here the hole in the roof thing that's going on as well. But it seems like some of those kind of like pits of death that we talked about aren't actually pits of death. But there are going to be some interesting features of the map here. So there is a destructible wall, it seems. There's also not too many wallbang spots, I don't believe. But there's also these rotating and revolving doors. There's 2 on the map, one of them over towards A. This is the layout. We kind of saw what this looked like yesterday. But yeah, these are the bomb sites. This is the attacking side, this is the defender side, and it might well be some sort of 2-2-1 split or something that teams will go for, but I mean, yeah, there's a revolving door over here that gets you towards the A side. It's a really interesting map design. Again, it's got its own kind of quirky features that Valorant likes to add in, and you know, these are the revolving doors. There's 2 of them. This is the way it works. You toggle it, and then it spins around. Now, it kind of, I mean, this one almost looked like it pauses midway. It seems to go quicker when it's almost like closed rather than when it's in the middle. So you potentially can run through one way and then run back through the other way like this. So there is some interesting plays you can potentially make here, right? Let's say you're escaping from some guy, there's a guy chasing you, you open the door like this, and then you go and you know, run through the door, but actually you don't run through it, you turn around and try and take the shot, and then the door closes. It's pretty interesting. Now you can hear this thing, you can use it to bait certain things out. It's you can't block it. It seems if you put down a sage wall there, it's just going to destroy it. So I mean, yeah, this is one of the weird quirks of this map. It's kind of a cool idea. It's not quite the same as the bind teleporters, but nonetheless, I'm sure it's going to have some use in competitive play. Now, as yet, we don't have any real set opinions by the pros. I mean, Ye comes out and says, honestly, the new Valorant map is, and then just leaves it there. So, yeah, probably still making up his mind on whether he thinks it's actually any good or not. We've also, though, got to talk about Split, because soon, indeed, Bind and Breeze are gone. Split is presumably back into the map rotation. So will be Lotus. Now, these are all the changes. I must say I'm quite surprised on the number of changes, as in there's quite a lot, but they're all very minor relatively. There's no major changes to the map layout and design. Some would say that's a good thing. I think it's not a bad thing, to be honest. I like the way the map set worked, but I just do think there were a few tweaks they should have made. But some wanted the entirety of mid redesigns, which is understandable, but I still kind of like what they did. So in tweet your thoughts on this down below. Some would say they went not anywhere near far enough on this. Others would probably say this is a good idea. This is what the entrance to A used to look like. It now looks like this. This I think is great, because before, if you're trying to get in here, it was a bit cramped really. If someone was holding this angle, they could get both kills. Now, if you're trying to hold this angle as a defender, and you've got an attacker coming down from here, and an attacker coming on this ledge, it's much more difficult to, you know, to actually get both fights to go in your favor. You're not going to get both kills if someone swings from the bottom and someone swings from the top. So I thought that was kind of nice. This also never made much sense to me why these stairs were even over it. It made kind of a weird layout inside. Now the stairs have been changed to like this, so the room I think makes a lot more sense now. The stairs come up this way, and you've now just got another flat section over here towards A. Those are one set of the changes. This is another one. So this ledge used to come up this way, now it no longer does that. It now kind of drops straight down into this cubby hole thing here, and also this is another thing with this box that used to be here has now been changed such that a new corner is here in this corner. So there's some other options for attackers, just some tweaks over towards that site really. This is another big change though over towards B. This wall here is now no longer a flat wall. It is now a, well, there's no longer a spot in this corner that you can hide in. It's now kind of like a diagonal wall. Then you've also got this trash can thing here up top, which has now been removed to mean that you can't actually jump on this anymore easily, at least from that side. You have to just kind of play around it. So that's another feature. So as I say, just some very small tweaks. Now mid has been changed a fair bit here. We can see these stairs, and also this kind of overlapping thing here is now gone. We can see there's now like a box that's been added to jump up on. It's now been been simplified and also widened a little bit this staircase. So that's kind of it, to be honest. Like, only a few changes really to various parts of the map. I think it's kind of the way to go. I don't mind this at all, but there's no major rework or anything that some people were expecting. But yes, indeed, Split will return to the competitive queue, and therefore it's back in business. Therefore, it'll also be back in the pro side, we believe. Quick note on Omen as well, some nerfs that he's had, or just one big nerf. Dark cover placed inside water with smoke grenades will now fall to the height of the nearby ground. So there was a glitch that people could use, really. I think the idea here was, it was confirmed by this guy from Riot, that, you know, it seems like a bug rather than intended gameplay to put a smoke inside a wall and use it as a one-way. Now it's always going to fall to the ground. You can still use one-ways if you're placing it on a ledge or another kind of form of geometry or geography or whatever exactly he's going for there. So it's only a very minor nerf, and really it's just to try and, you know, prevent people using it as a bug rather than, you know, intended gameplay mechanics type stuff. So it can still be used for one-ways, but not in the way that sometimes it was being used before. Let's talk about rosters though. So quickly on version 1, they tweet this out yesterday, maybe implying that either they're going to bring back their Game Changers team, or there's more, because this kind of looks like Valorant type stuff in the background, Valorant colors, all this. So whether they bring back their Valorant roster, it's quite clear they're not bringing back their Valorant main roster now, or at least yet. They lost Penny, of course, Whippy, they sold them on to G2, the other guys went elsewhere, Xander and co have gone on to different teams now, so they're not going to just come out of nowhere with an organization or with a team that's going to compete in the qualifier in like 2 days time. It's far more likely that potentially, if they do want to return to Valorant, either this is a Game Changers team, or it's or they just wait for 6 teams to qualify through the qualifiers and then pick one of those guys up. So maybe they're still involved in, or at least thinking about, returning to Valorant. Quickly for Mel as well, she signed a new contract. There's been some discussion what team she might join and what exactly is going on there. There seems to be pretty much a super Game Changers team forming down there that will be playing in the qualifiers this weekend, so stay tuned for that one. And also big news from the Sentinels camp. Finally, it is actually happening. It is finally happening. The team is in LA. Practice starts now. So last night, it seems, was the first day of practice for that new Sentinels team. Sassy, Pancada, Zekken, Dephh, and TenZ, rounding out the 5-man team. And yeah, Sentinels say dawn of a new era. It's official. They're actually going to practice going forwards. Can you believe it? It's going to be a thing. So yeah, we'll see how this works out for these guys. But yeah, we knew that NRG started practice the other day. They already have been looking very good indeed behind the scenes, according to our information. We know that 100 Thieves are presumably still going to be slight favourites for the Americas going into Sao Paulo, but things could still change over the coming weeks here, and Sentinels have some time to catch up, but of course, well, they are now back in business. Now, this from Tarik's stream last night, wanted to point out, because on the right-hand side, there are some scrims going on that are worthy of some attention. So, first of all, Will here is 1 in 6. We'll go back to that in a second. We've got Stewie, Braxton, Wardell all playing together with that team that they are, of course, forming over there. But when he scrolls further, we get to this. If we look at the top side, this is probably the most interesting to me, is G2 scrimming Cloud9. Now, we know that Cloud9 are scrimming a lot, or well, pretty much all the tier 1 teams are scrimming predominantly tier 2 teams. But we can see that G2 ShahZaM is up 5-2, and Cloud9 Ye and Co are down 2-5. So just interesting, right? Because G2 have been formed slightly sooner than Cloud9. We don't know how this scrim ended, but just the fact that, you know, 5-2 advantage here for ShahZaM and G2 at the time is, you know, a little bit telling, not exactly anything massive, but it's just something to look at. It's not like Cloud9, the tier 1 team, are dominating G2, especially because Cloud9 now have had a lot of time to get things ready. Like, they are a little bit of a weird team in terms of all the way the roles work on that roster. So we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, not exactly impressed by Cloud9 so far. They did, of course, make the finals at the Red Bull home grounds in Manchester, but they got bodied by 100 Thieves in that final. So, I mean, yeah, so ShahZaM and G2 beating Cloud9 as we saw last night. Now, we also see Ocean, Exalt, and Steel. That, of course, being the Toasts team, right, that we saw the other day. And there's also this to notice here. So at the top of the screen, we can see that NRG SOM is up 6-1, and the Guard, Net, and Trent are down 1-6. Now, there's also Will, who's 1-6, but he's in the same party as Marder, so seemingly SR are scrimming Will's new team, whatever that is, I kind of forget now. But yeah, so NRG are looking rather good. They're beating the Guard here 6-1. Of course, early days in this particular scrim, but yeah, the fact that, well, NRG are having a good time against the Guard, and Cloud9 not having such a good time against, you know, against G2 is maybe a little bit telling. Speaking of G2, actually, this I thought was kind of funny from G2 themselves. Can't believe it took them 6 months to remove Sentinels from Split. They removed the trash can thing. Now, of course, in fairness, as Sentinels even say, you guys did sign 2 of our former players, in fairness, and even this came out from Zekken, which I thought, well, was since deleted, right? But talking about Carlos, of course, I'd be on your team if your terrible owner didn't keep keep you from making the franchise. That, of course, being, well, you guys know the drama at this point. But yeah, Zekken and Xset were meant to join G2. They were meant to, the entire Xset team was meant to go to G2. Didn't happen though, because they got rejected in the last minute based on various reasons. Quick note before we close out as well on the crypto betting scandal, because yeah, the last few days it's been spotted now. There's a Discord here that some individuals, probably not all of these individuals were involved in it, but some in this Discord certainly are, and there were a lot of interesting replies in this one as well, that you know, this guy reckons he won 400 throwing 2 games for ShahZaM. So I mean, yeah, apparently this is a pretty regular thing. To evade this, the pros are now seemingly going to avoid ranked in its entirety and are now setting up 10-man games. Effectively, the way this works is get in a Discord as the pros. Surprised, honestly, they didn't do this already, because this has been the thing in COD for years, and other esports I'm sure as well. But get in a lobby with 10 pros, you know, you pick 2 captains, they choose the 4 players on their team, then you just play a fun game, way more fun than I'm sure playing ranked, and it seems like the pros agree based on it for now. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.